What up, Real Fans Podcast. Back at it again. Another week in sports. It's going to be, that's Julian right there. He's doing a finger gun. Pow, pow, pow. That's Jojo right there. See what's up to the people, Jojo.
What's going on? Was good. Episode 48. We got another one. Was good. Another week of sports. A lot of action going on. Mainly, we're talking about football, basketball, a little baseball action here and there. A lot going on in South Florida sports. We were just chatting before we started the episode. Damn. Yo, isn't it a good time? South Florida sports.
South Florida sports. It's a good time to be in South Florida.
It's back. It's back, man. All right. I mean,
except for
number one seed and everything, but it doesn't have that LeBron feel, right, Gabe?
Nah, I don't have that. It's not the same. It's not the same. See, LeBron, every game felt like a playoff game. The regular season felt like a playoff game. Literally every game. So it don't feel the same. But we're still excited. Like I said, we're talking NBA, get into our predictions and stuff. But let's start with NFL because NFL never stop making news, even though they haven't played a game in months.
Never
stop. The first thing we want to talk about this week is USFL kicked off this week, and we're going to get your thoughts on USFL. Julian, how do you feel about this league?
So, did anybody else see the peep any of the games? I caught a little bit of it.
Nah.
I just wanted to check it out just to see what's going on. First things first, couple really cool things I did notice. They're heavy on the drone, which is kind of cool. So as the plays are calling, they have the drones in. They also had you can hear the plays being called. The coach's headset to the quarterback's mic is all linked up, so you can hear the play call to the quarterback's headset, and you can hear the quarterback say the call to in the huddle, which is pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, they do some plays with the drone behind the game. So instead of that top down look from the side, they had some every now and then they would do an angle from behind the quarterback, so you can kind of see it from a quarterback's vision. It was pretty cool. What else did they do?
You know, it'd be pretty funny if the quarterback just airmails the ball and just knock down a drone in the middle of the game.
Dude, they did it for the punter too. I was hearing somebody, I saw, I think online, it was like, man, could you imagine trying to fucking punt with this thing just fucking right behind you? Another really cool one, they put cameras on the helmets. So when certain replays, on the running back, you can see it from a first person point of view. On the helmet.
They're really trying to get the fans engaged.
Trying to be little bit of
that's pretty
innovative.
Cool, man. Yeah, give you a little more insight, a little feel for it.
Yeah, and I think you kind of have to if you're going to compete with the NFL. And I mean, it was pretty cool to see football again, but then the harsh reality set in. And when she got
the quality of play, it's not the same.
The quality was bad.
There we go. I already knew where you're gonna say that. Look on your face.
It was
pretty high standards, guys. I don't know.
No, I mean, you ever see some of those some of those Thursday night football games? They're just kind of this or those games of the week. They're just just bad games. They're just the worst teams of the league.
You have the worst.
Yeah, the shit bowls.
Yeah.
So imagine that. But even worse. It was just
Julian was excited until the quarterback had to actually throw the ball, and he was like, "Oh shit, yeah, this ain't."
Yeah, and it kind of gave me that college feel almost. And here's one thing: it's the first week ever. These guys are playing for the first time together ever. This is the first time they're getting a feel of things, understanding the flow of play and everything with the different rule sets and everything. So I'll give it the benefit of the doubt, because I will say when the XFL started to kind of 2 years ago when the XFL started, the first week was kind of rough, but after the weeks went on, you kind of started to get into its own rhythm. And I think maybe this is just kind of the same idea. The one hard part I will say is it's the quarterback play. It's you don't realize how important the game is if you don't have a good quarterback, and how exciting a game can be without a good quarterback. I mean, shit, we already see it in the NFL. How many good quarterbacks or entertaining quarterbacks there is even to watch right now? 10? The NFL's already struggling to get 32 of those guys.
Yeah.
Now you're going to have another league that's going to need that as well. And then next year when the XFL comes out, and you're going to have 3 football leagues going on, it's if they can figure out a way to get the quarterback situation going. Like maybe with this new era of football where like it's becoming a more passing game, you're probably, as the years and decades go on, you're gonna start probably seeing more quality quarterbacks who can throw the football.
What if you see more athletic quarterbacks like Lamar Jacksons in these type of leagues? Like those are the exciting players. I feel like,
yeah, I mean,
in terms of viewership, that's kind of we love traditional quarterbacks, but the people who really get the attention is that you have a really strong arm or you're just super athletic. Those are the guys that get the attention. The standard QBs we have in the NFL, and we know they're really good, like the Matt Staffords. You know what I mean? Guys that stay in the pocket, just have a good arm. They're not really like media quarterbacks. So do you think that's what they need in like the XFL?
No, I think you just need quality. I mean, I think it's just what it is. I think there was a guy out there who was like, man, he was running all over the field, super athletic, but fuck, man, he cannot throw that ball. Like, and at the end of the day, it's a position where you need to be able to throw the ball, and if you can't throw it, as if it's 3rd and 15, like you can't. Very rarely does a run work.
Michael Vick and just go all the way.
And there's only so many of those guys on the planet that play football. So it's tough, but it is something though. It's something to watch. There's some football out there, and I think hopefully as the season goes on, like they kind of get the feel of everything. And I also think it's great for like these smaller cities like Birmingham and like middle of New Jersey and like some of these other cities to have some football to root for, because if you don't have like an NFL team. So that's kind of like, I don't know.
But that's one of the weird things about the league is because all these cities are being represented. You're talking about New Jersey and Houston, all these cities being represented, but it's only being played in Alabama. So like it's only being played in one spot. So yeah,
that is weird, but I think that's for financial reasons.
Yeah, obviously.
I was actually, I was just watching. I was not watching. I was just reading something about how much they make, and I think the average player makes $45K a year with the potential to make 70 after like incentives and stuff. So, I mean, I think they spend about $1 million on, or $1.5 million on like a full roster, and then like $100K on practice squad players.
I mean, they picked a hell of a time to play football in the middle of NBA playoffs, NHL. We're about to start the playoffs.
Too much going on.
I mean, MLB.
I don't think
baseball started brand new. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's a hell of a time to start sports like that.
I think it's a different consumer, though. I feel like you're getting a different. I don't think you're really appealing to basketball people. Like that's my thought process, and it's also you don't want to go at the same time in the NFL. That's your direct competition.
Absolutely not. And that's what I was thinking this whole time.
And summer,
interesting they did it in the summer because you're not going to compete.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys ever watch like or know about like the Canadian Football League or like the Arena Football League, that was always during the summer. Because you got to think like during those especially when basketball passes and hockey, it gets really dry. Like all there is baseball pretty much. And like you see, like in the middle of July, Sports Center top 10 is just nothing but people catching fly balls. It gets really dry, so it's like there's only. I think it's the best time to kind of like attack. I mean, it's kind of the same reason why MLS, for example, does a summer schedule. One because of the winter, but also because you're not competing directly with the NFL because it's hard to compete with the NFL. I mean, even basketball doesn't necessarily. Think about it. Basketball doesn't really pick up till NFL season's over, for the most part.
I mean, give or take, yes or no. But NFL is only
you have like your big Christmas day,
and then there's a lot of games in between that people actually watch: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights.
Yeah, like in between, but like you're not like. I'm sure if you look at like the ratings like chart, you don't really see anything start like really ramping up until like All-Star break. I'm sure like after Super Bowl and everything.
It's got to be excellent.
That's probably the NBA's hotspot.
For gamblers, like this is the only thing like I can think of. Like it's got to be good for gamblers. People who want to bet on something. They got money. They want to bet on something. I guess
we should get on that. Let's start betting on some of these random things.
But I will say, I'm glad that there's another avenue for people who want to continue to live that dream of playing football. I'm glad they can do that.
I agree because
that's not fair with minor league. Same thing with minor league baseball. Like, you might not ever make the majors. You might be a minor league player your whole life. But you know what? you're able to live out your dream playing a sport you love and make a living out of it. May not have been a great living, but
he gave it a
shot.
One-stop shop to the NFL is nearly impossible, and even to stay there, like once you get drafted or anything like that,
it's hard, dude.
So what's your backup? Like honestly, it's about time.
There was
a few avenues.
Yeah, the only thing you really had was Arena and Canadian Football League.
Yeah, but Arena doesn't even compare, to be honest. It's not.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Canada's a little bit of a bigger league, I will say.
Yeah, but then how many people actually want to go move to Canada just to play football?
Yeah.
No offense, I'm just like in general.
If you want to continue to play football,
you're from LA, you're Miami, you're from New York, these major cities, but now you got to move to Canada.
If you want to live your dream and you're going to get paid $100,000 a year to play Canadian football, I don't see a lot of people turning that down. I would say.
Kawhi didn't even want to stay in Toronto, and he won a championship there. That's all I have to say.
Canada sucks, according to JoJo.
Nah. It's cold.
He lives right there in Buffalo. That's so far. It's almost Canada.
I mean, that's why they have to play in the summer. They can't play in the winters. You imagine December games in Canada?
It's brutal, bro. Like you want to be there in the winter playing football.
Anyways, we transition to other news. Today it came out today. I forget who reported on it. I think I saw it was. It wasn't.
I think it's Ian Rappaport. Rap sheet.
Ian Rappaport. All right, so Ian Rappaport's today. We're recording here on a Wednesday. Ian Rappaport just came out just today, brand new, fresh out the oven. Deebo Samuel says he does not want to return with the team. He said he wants to be traded. I don't know if he requested a trade, but he's saying he wants out of San Francisco.
He's officially requested he's officially requested a trade.
And also saw that he doesn't want to give any reason behind it, Deebo Samuel. So I'll start with Julian. Yeah. Julian, I'll start with you. How do you feel about Deebo Samuel? I mean, what is this a sign of? Why does Deebo want to leave?
This is out. Like this to me kind of came out of nowhere until like last week is when you started to hear something of it. But like before last week, I mean, who would have thought he was going anywhere? This is clearly contractual issues, right? I mean, like what else? I don't know. I mean, there's no way of knowing. Either like he felt disrespected and he just wants to leave, or maybe like contract issues. I mean, who knows? Who knows what it could be? I will say, considering the type of player he is a great player, but I think he fits a certain type of role for a certain type of team. I don't think he's necessarily a guy you could plug and play anywhere. Or if you're going to get him, you have to put him in a situation that fits for him. Like San Francisco was such a great fit for him because San Francisco has probably the best offensive line in the league. So he was great at running the ball because of that. He has great contact balance. And he was great in like bubble screens and things like that where receivers knew how to block on that team. That team was a blocking team. They just knew how to block and they just gave Deebo the ball and he ran with it. So if you put him on a team where they don't have receivers who can block, the offensive line is shaky, I don't know how necessarily good he will be because his route running is it's all right. It's not bad. It's not great. But I think it takes a specific team for him to fit. And I think he might even know that too.
Wow. Jojo, any thoughts on Deebo Samuel do you have? Any
good analysis? Well, starting with San Francisco, their season's over. Seffi's gone. They're starting.
You're talking about Jimmy G's going to take it to the promised land.
Listen. I mean, it could be a few things, right? I mean, Julian, kind of made a point. It could be contractual issues, or it could be the NFL is becoming the new NBA, and these guys don't want to waste their prime, and they want to be on a winning or championship team. So who knows? Maybe he just heartbreaking loss in the playoffs, and he decided to move on to go somewhere else. It could be anything.
I mean, a team that went to the NFC Championship twice in 3 years. Like, that's a pretty good winning team. I mean,
so here's the thing.
I don't know his expectations. It could be anything.
A lot of, especially now, because it kind of ties in with the Dolphins. A lot of, with Mike McDaniel leaving. I had to bring it back into Miami. Mike McDaniel leaving. Mike McDaniel's been hiring a lot of staff from the 49ers, a lot of ex-players. We have Mozart on our team. I think this Deebo Samuel, he's an excellent. He's a playmaker, bro. He is an X factor. I believe that he's good running the ball. You just give him the ball, put the ball in his hands, and he's going to make shit happen.
Yeah,
he's a great runner. I think he's a good receiver. I don't know about the extent of his route running, but I mean, the guy yards after catch. I mean, the guy's explosive. So
yeah, his contact balance is amazing.
Yeah, he's the upcoming star. We haven't seen the prime of Deebo Samuel, but he's a rising star in this league. And the fact that I see a mass exodus. They're going to bring back Jimmy G again for another year. That's what it seems like. And they have Trey Lance in the wings, which they haven't pulled the trigger on Trey Lance. So I see a lot of exodus out of San Francisco, and this is probably just him like, I don't know if I'm going to have a good year. Maybe he's fighting. Maybe he thinks he's playing above his contract, and he wants a better deal. Because in the NFL, not everything's guaranteed. You have to play to get paid. So this is typical maneuvering. Right now we're in the middle of like voluntary camps, which we'll talk about later. There's another story we'll talk about, but so I think this is just maneuvering, just trying to probably get a better deal for his situation. Like he is an explosive player. He's a playmaker. He's a rising star, and I feel like he's just trying to get this is maneuvering. I think this is maneuvering for his career.
Here's a thought process. Maybe he doesn't like the role that he is playing in San Francisco, even though that might be the best role for him and the type of player he is. But maybe he wants to be more of that X receiver, and San Francisco's not putting him in that situation because you have a guy like Jimmy G, and also he excels so well, like yards after contact, the yak. So like maybe he wants to test himself in a more vertical system. Like that could be a thing too. And he feels like San Francisco is not utilizing to his strengths. I mean, no, not utilizing him in that way. But I mean, kind of from what I've seen, like I feel like that kind of role is perfect for him. Like that kind of like that hybrid role gadget player you can line him up anywhere and he just kind of does it. I don't know if he necessarily can be like a number one wide receiver, like that can just, no matter what, you can trust him to be open or can make that catch. I mean, he's a great player and I would take him on my team, or I'm sure anybody would take him. But that's why I think he needs to be in a specific system that fits him. And it could be a number of things. Maybe it could be all three. He doesn't like his contract. He doesn't like the role that he's playing. He feels like it's going to maybe all that contact's going to shorten his career. Maybe like his coaches being gone, like Gabe said. But I am a little surprised. Like, but it's hard. I guess he can't have the stats that you can have as a receiver if you have Jimmy G throwing you the ball.
Yeah, I was gonna say because he was hurt last year. His first year, he played 15 games. He had like 57 receptions, 800 yards, which is pretty decent. I mean, for a rookie year, pretty decent. And he was a top receiver getting drafted. Last year he was hurt. 2020 he was hurt all of last year, and this year's when he finally he was healthy enough and had an explosive year. He had 1,400 yards receiving. So he
had 1,400 receiving yards or total yards.
Yeah. Let me see. 1,400 on 121 targets, 1,405, 6 touchdowns. Not a lot of touchdowns, but but also
what's his yards after contact? I'm actually kind of curious if it says it.
His yak.
What's his average yak?
Let me see. His yak was 768 yak.
Shit.
Average of 10 yak.
Wow.
So plus that's receiving.
Wow,
that's
receiving. A lot.
Plus, they also use him for a run game, so he was running as well.
Yeah.
Like he didn't
have his rushing yards either.
I can pull. I mean, I gotta pull it up now.
Damn, he only wants to know the whole stat.
I'm just curious. I'm actually
just call Deebo yourself and ask him.
It made it seem like he had everything right there. That's why I didn't.
What'd you do last season?
Bro, you sound like you about to buy should have bought his rookie card last year.
Bro, 700 yards after contact is fucking
with 1,400 total. With 1,400 total. So let me see. Passing, rushing. Rushing right here, 181. 181.
Really?
Or 365 total, 181 yards before contact. 181 yards before contact, 365 on 59 rushes. Okay. So
that seems about right.
21 first down.
1,700 total yards. Yeah, so, man, the guy's a playmaker.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like he's a difference maker, and he's very young in his career. So this just might be maneuvering. This might be just agent work in the offseason. I think it'll work out. I think he's asking for a trade, but I think that they will they would hush this down and settle this with Deebo Samuel coming forward because they need him. They need him. I mean, they need him. If you're going to trade for Deebo Samuel at this point, you're going to have to give up like first rounds and shit. And I don't know. Maybe he comes to the Dolphins.
They're going to fucking play, what is his name? Brandon Ayuk or something like that.
Oh, yeah,
Ayuk is good too. He's good. He's a good little player.
I had him on fantasy.
He's just a supplementary player. I wouldn't trust him as like my. I wouldn't want to go into the season with him being like my best receiver.
Speaking of receivers, top receivers in the league, AJ Brown, Tennessee Titans. The mortal enemy of Julian and his Jaguars.
Mortal enemy.
He does not like the Titans at all. AJ Brown said he's not reporting. He's not going to training camp. It
starts already. Here we go.
Which, by the way, before I have to preface this. These are voluntary training camps. This is voluntary, like you can choose to show up or not. So, Julian, how do you feel about AJ Brown not showing up for training camp? These voluntary.
I want to say that he flat out said that he's not going, or like at least there's reports saying that he's not attending training camp if things don't, I guess, work out. That's what I understood from it. But man, dude, look at all these receivers right now that were just like disgruntled and you have Deebo Samuel, AJ Brown. Now you're hearing of Terry McLaurin coming out saying that he's not happy in Washington. You have Metcalf wanting to get an extension. Dude, man, it's crazy. These I've never seen an offseason like this in the NFL. It is so, and I feel like every week it's something new. Every week.
I feel like every season we say this too because it's just getting
crazier and crazier.
Yeah, it's just getting crazier. Where every season we're like, yo, this off season, I've never seen anything like it. It could be quarterbacks one season, the next season. Now we're looking at receivers, unhappy. Everybody wants to move. Everybody wants to get paid. Everybody wants to win. It's turning into the NBA. It's turning into the NBA.
Yeah, at least for certain positions. For certain positions, at least.
Yeah.
But AJ Brown, he's a man. Dude's a beat. Dude's huge. He's a huge, fast guy. Like the dude can fly, and he can fly, and he could just like run people over. He's such a physical threat. He's like Metcalf. He's not as fast as Metcalf, but the dude can absolutely just take over a game if he wanted to. And yeah, I guess he just didn't like what the negotiations. It seemed like something maybe Tennessee wanted to hold off but he wants it now, which I can understand that. Like you want to just lock that up as soon as possible, and maybe Tennessee's not ready to commit to that yet. And it also could be another situation where he just doesn't like, do I want to go in another year with Ryan Tannehill? Like it's another kind of quarterback. It's like, and that's kind of if you look at all four of those receivers I looked at, not one of them has a really good quarterback situation. You have Ryan Tannehill, Jimmy Garoppolo, Carson Wentz, and who the fuck knows is going to play in Seattle? Like, who knows? So it's like that's either a coincidence or it has to do with like not having their faith in having a good quarterback that can help buff those stats for a receiver because, a receiver lives and dies by how good their quarterback is.
Facts.
So that could be another reason too. Where do you think he could go, Gabe?
I don't know where he's going to go. Just for context, he's on the fourth year of a 4-year deal. So far, he's earned $4.3 million, and he's due another $4 million for his last year with Tennessee. Before
this is rookie contract.
Yeah. So I'm like I said, this seems like maneuvering. These young guys. He's a young player, explosive player as well. One of the top. I'll say top 10 receivers in the league. Like this is a guy you want on your team. Like this is you can build a future with AJ Brown. Very physical, fast, exciting player. He's fun. He's a fun player. I love to watch AJ Brown. I'm not a fan of the Titans per se, but I am a fan of AJ Brown. So, like I said, this seems like maneuvering. This is like gesturing. What I like to do, I'm gonna wait and see when it's actual training camp. We're actually getting into the season. It's July, August. and let's see what guys do. Because right now it's all season time. These guys are on vacation. They're going to freaking San Tropez. They're going to Italy. They're doing whatever with their family.
Well, guys are now starting
Miami.
to come back. I mean, guys are starting to come back now. But Gabe, let me ask you this though: if you're in need and you're calling, what would you give up to get him?
Oh, you got to give up a lot, bro. You got to give up a lot. You at least a couple top rounders, a first round and a second round at bare minimum.
You think a first rounder?
Besides assets, if you're gonna send them money or whatever.
Gabe said you could build a team around this guy.
You want to build a team around him, like we just talked about Deebo Samuel, AJ Brown. You want to build a team around these guys. Like these are playmakers. These are not like your third. He's not a third wide receiver. You think he's a third wide receiver on the team?
No,
this guy's number one, number two. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I will say, I think out of those receivers that I mentioned, I think there's only one guy I would trade up a first round pick for, and that's Metcalf. That dude is unreal. AJ Brown, I think I would give AJ Brown a second, a third, and a second next year. I would. I think he's. I don't know if I'd give a first round. I guess it depends on your positioning. Like if you're late in the first round, then maybe. But like if you're top 20, I don't know if I get rid of that first rounder for AJ Brown. I'll definitely offload those second and third round picks though. That's still quality players who can start. And I mean,
yeah. Now
AJ Brown's worth more than a second rounder. But who knows how they're gonna perform.
I would say physically, like these are two different like people. Like Metcalf is he's the fucking.
I don't know. They're about the same though.
Nah,
look at AJ Brown. AJ Brown's fucking huge. Like he's huge, and they're both big body like motherfuckers. Like they're big. Like AJ Brown's a big guy. The only thing is I think Metcalf is faster and probably has more potential.
I mean,
but
Metcalf
that's not taking anything away from Brown.
Metcalf is like a tight end. He's a freaking tight end playing wide receiver. Metcalf.
So is how. I gotta see
AJ
this.
Brown.
I gotta see this.
AJ Brown reminds me like a Michael Irving, like a fast flyer, physical guy.
All right.
What we do? We're doing comparisons.
All right, here we go. Okay. Yeah. Hold up. I gotta see this.
I can show you comparisons from last year. There's
okay. Right.
Okay.
No, I'm talking about size. All right. So
size, physical.
AJ Brown 6'1", 225. Solid. Big. DK Metcalf, he's a little taller. He's got 3 inches on him. He's 6'4", 230. So they're about the same weight. Metcalf's just a little taller.
Metcalf is a tight end. Short for a tight end.
Bro, look at this. Wait, is that
short for a tight end?
We want to talk about his stats
6'4"?
last year? 6'3", 6'3", pretty.
Yeah, I guess that's about tight end height, I guess.
Their stats last year. So AJ Brown, 63 receptions on 105 targets, had 869 yards, 5 touchdowns. Metcalf, 75 on 129 targets, 967 yards, 12 touchdowns. So I think Metcalf had more production. He had almost double. But their numbers they're not similar, but AJ Brown's pulling up there. AJ Brown's coming up. So to me, they're pretty similar, but I think Metcalf is far and above. I would rather have Metcalf.
Hold up, look at this.
Than AJ Brown. They're both exciting players. I like them both.
This is them two next to each other.
Are you pulling up the picture? Where are you pulling?
Yeah, right here.
Oh shit!
That's just them two.
No, that's just Metcalf looks more relaxed. Metcalf looks more relaxed.
Metcalf looks more relaxed. But yeah, I mean, they're both big motherfuckers. Like I
would like them. I would like them both. I think Metcalf is going to move before Deebo Samuel. Honestly.
Oh yeah, I think Metcalf has more. I think out of all those receivers, I think he's going to be the best. I think that speed is, dude, that big, and he's running a 4.3. That is fucking insane. That is insane. Like, I mean, all you had to do was just watch that highlight of him chasing down Buda Baker last year.
Yeah, no, that was insane.
That was unreal.
Yo, Gabe, I heard you could move like that back in your prime. That was you.
Oh, yeah, no. I was always slow.
Back in his baseball days. Life, bro. That was back when Gabe used to run bases.
But yeah, I mean, do you think it's a big deal, though? I mean, honestly, is it a big deal that at this point in time, we're talking about April 20th, that he said he's not going to show up for training camp. I mean, Julian, honestly, April.
Listen, man.
Well, I don't even think he's not showing up. He's talking about that he wants a contract. So, and at the end of the day, he could be moved. Like, it's not like a quarterback. Like, if he really doesn't want to be there and Tennessee gets the right deal, I could see them taking it. But who knows? I mean, we'll see.
You're making a fucking hill out of a mountain hole. This is nothing.
The dude openly said, "I'm not going unless I get an extension." He literally said, "I ain't going unless I get an extension." So if they don't give him an extension, like
they have to,
he's going to sit out.
If they don't give him an extension, what are their plans? Like, who do you have out there that you're going to replace? You already brought in Julio Jones, which was fucking a disaster.
He's already on the market again. It sounded
exciting. Yeah,
Julio Jones was a waste of picks. That was an absolute waste of picks for 1 year.
So they brought in Julio Jones, an old veteran, and that didn't work out. So what's the Titans' plans if you don't extend AJ Brown?
I'm not saying that they shouldn't extend him. I'm just saying I could see them getting the right deal. If they get the right deal, them moving on. Because he wants to stay there. Clearly, he said he wants an extension.
So you think they're going to rebuild?
He's in his fourth
Titans
year.
Titans are rebuild mode?
I don't know what the
Titans
are, dude. They're so I don't know. The Titans are to me are not a Super Bowl team, but yet they're not they're definitely a playoff team.
They can still compete.
They're like that weird. They're a competitive playoff team that I don't think has enough to get over the edge because they don't have that guy.
No, they're enough to compete, maybe grab a win in the playoffs like they've done in the past, but it depends.
Without Derrick Henry, bro, they're nothing
that year. So
without Derrick Henry, they're nothing. And how long can you do this Derrick Henry thing? Who knows? How long can you do that for?
For context, they're competing against the Colts, the Texans, and the Jaguars, like we said before. I feel like the Colts Titans are going to be the top one. Jaguars are fighting their way. Yeah. So they're not going to get rid. They're not getting rid of AJ Brown. All right, let's transition. I feel like
Julian's like, damn,
bang this on the head.
I mean,
let's talk about another player who won't play without a contract. Let's go. Let's fly to Arizona.
The theme of the show today.
As I'm saying,
people who don't want to play.
Everybody wants a contract.
Everybody wants a contract.
You know what? I'm not going to record next episode if you guys extend my contract. I'm a protest next episode.
Jojo, we got 40 episodes before we get a new contract.
Let's fly to Arizona. Let's talk about Arizona news. The Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray, head quarterback, says he will not play without a new contract. And obviously, early in the season, we had Kyler Murray he was on Instagram deleting all his Arizona ties. Any picture that showed him in the Arizona helmet, he deleted all his jerseys. And now, we're still here with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray fighting for, he's trying to eat, man. He's trying to put food on his table.
First off, what's going on with these organizations, right? All right, I don't understand why so many players are put in this position year after year now. It's like if they're putting up the numbers, they're putting up the stats, they're showing out. Is it the players asking for too much, or the owners don't want to pay? What's going on here in these situations?
Well, I don't think it's so much the owner. I think it's the GM in the front office and stuff. But I think it's just this weird, it's this weird transition phase where people are trying to figure out, guys are just trying to get paid as soon as possible before, you got to take care of yourself. And I get it. I get it. You want to get that money locked up. But then I also get the other side too, where it's dude, we still have 2 more years left on your contract. This is Kyler Murray's, he's entering his 4th year. And then more than likely they're going to pick up the 5th year option. And I think they just want it as soon as possible, which I understand. And then I also understand the other point where it's we still got years. The AJ Brown thing is a little different because it's his final year.
Yeah.
So all these guys that are entering their final year, I get the extent. That's always been a thing. If you're entering your final year, you want to make sure you lock a bit of extension so you're not a free agent. But 2 years before, I guess it's been kind of normal in the quarterback market, but man, I don't know. I think it's also too trying to figure out because with the salary cap raising and like trying to fit in like the market just getting so crazy with the amount of money these guys are getting paid per year. I think they're just trying to fit in the market getting changed. Like every time somebody else gets like the thing is set to a new standard.
Yep.
And now it's like trying to figure out how much you want to pay these guys, how long do you want to have it for? I mean, that's what we saw with Baker. Baker was like this weird situation where we didn't know. Obviously, we get into that in a little bit, but it's like I think you're just trying to figure things out, and then it's like you still got to pay other positions, but the salary cap is raising. Salary cap is kind of fugazi. Like who the fuck? Like there's so many ways around it. It's just weird, dude. I think it's just guys wanting to get paid really early and then front offices wanting to wait.
Yeah. Honestly, look, if you're front office, you want to wait a little bit because you want to see proven production. You're not going to go ahead and lock in a long-term contract because someone had one great season. You know what I mean? And then on the other end, of course, you're trying to get paid. You're in one of the most physical sports, right, out there playing professionally. And hey, anything can go wrong at any given moment. And hey, if you shine bright, you have a great season, you're gonna want to lock up that money as soon as possible, right? Because it's not guaranteed you're gonna have that season success next year, or God forbid an injury. And like you said, right, you got to play in the NFL to earn your money. So these injuries really mess up everyone's pockets.
Yeah, and I think the power of the quarterback, they know, like, man, we could, like, you need us more than we need you. Like at the end of the day, like, there's always going to be another team out there willing to pay you the money you want.
Facts.
It's just a matter if you want to go to that team.
Now looking at the contracts, I hear them on Sports Track. Sports Track is a great. You want to start looking at contracts and numbers. Sports Track is a great website to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Kyler Murray is like number 7. He's is he going to be a cap hit of $11.3 million? And he's like number 7. Above him
Really low.
is going to be Rodney Hudson, a lineman. It's going to be Jordan Phillips, a D lineman. Buda Baker, safety. J.J. Watt, DeAndre Hopkins, and DJ Humphries. So as far as offensive players, DeAndre Hopkins is obviously older, been in the league longer. $17 million for J.J. Watt. That's the only player above him. I think this, like I said, this feels like play, man. This is just like they're trying. No, these are agent moves. The agents are just talking. They're like, yo, let's renegotiate. These are like power moves to get the organization to fold or demand. Because what is their other option besides Kyler Murray? Like, who is their backup in Arizona? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Would you want to play games without Kyler Murray? Is that what you're suggesting? Like, no, of course they're gonna fucking go to the will of his demands, whatever he's asking for. So,
well, I think too, well, he has to play at the end of his contracts because remember, this is just an extension to the contract that already exists. So he's going to have to play those final 2 years making rookie money, and then after that, he starts getting paid whatever that extension was. So maybe too, like they're trying to figure out what these contracts are going to look like in 2 years when that money kicks in. Or then again, I don't know if the extension starts after the 4th year or can they pick up the 5th year option and then after the 5th year option that contract extension starts. I'm not entirely sure, but like maybe too they're just trying to figure out and like maneuver the cap as well for when that hits because he's probably going to get a lot of money. He's probably going to be a $50 million a year quarterback, more than likely. Probably. So it's like trying to figure out how that you want to maneuver that because you're going to have Buda Baker. I don't know when his contract lasts, but I'm sure there's people on that team whose contract's going to run around the same time when his extension's going to hit. And I guess just trying to figure that out because you don't want to be like the New Orleans Saints who are like so over the cap, it's ridiculous. No. And then yet they're just stuck and they can't sign anybody.
Yeah. And by the way,
I don't understand how the Saints are still in that situation either. That makes no sense to me.
The backup for Kyler Murray is Colt McCoy and Trey Sorley. The receivers,
shit, bro. Colt McCoy.
They have
the best
James
backup in the league.
They have James Conner, DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green still listed on. Obviously, Zach Ertz got traded last year, so that's their offensive, prowess. I mean, I feel like I don't know how deep Arizona is, but they're in a they're that competitive as hell, and
you need a guy like him.
You want to lock up. You want to lock him up, man. Lock up Kyler Murray. All right, let's transition. Kyler Murray. Let's talk about Baker. Baker Mayfield.
Gabe's favorite quarterback.
Still has no.
Gabe's
my
favorite quarterback. You going to get traded for Tua?
No, man. I'm part of Tua now.
Bro,
Okay,
I would take Baker over Tua.
Wow. Wow.
No,
I'm
crazy.
saying that purely to get Gabe upset.
Hot takes.
I know. Listen,
the hot
take. On Wednesday. It's 420.
This is 420.
His laughing is a very high pitch. It's 420. Are you high right now? You want to take Tua over dude. Baker Mayfield? Oh my god. Anyways, let's talk about Baker Mayfield.
I just wanted to say that he get Gabe upset. Hey, but low key, there might be a little bit of truth to that.
Baker Mayfield has a playoff win. I think
he's been in the playoffs. Okay,
he's been to the playoffs and has won a playoff game.
He's won a playoff game.
I believe Baker Mayfield. Here's 2-9. I believe Baker Mayfield is a starter. I said this before. Baker Mayfield is a starter in this league, but he's not like, bro. He's the bottom 30 or whatever, the 30 to 32. He's like the last
bottom 30.
He's the bottom 30. I don't know. You can say top 5, top 10. He's the bottom. He's like 30 to 32. He's in that range. He can start. He is worthy of starting. And I think we talked about it before of like, yo, maybe taking a year off might be healthy for Baker Mayfield for him to fucking recover from his injuries, whatever. I still think he has the experience. JoJo's talking about he has playoff experience. He has experience. I think he has the mentality of a starter that you want, but the question is physical ability. And so far, it's been like it feels like these fast 4 or 5 years. It's his physical ability. Like his injuries is what's stopping him from reaching his potential. I mean, that's
his non-throwing shoulders.
Yes,
it's just
non-throwing
it's just man.
But still,
look, you're underestimating how important
the man.
That is.
Listen, Baker Mayfield.
Look, you point with that shoulder. You point with it.
I give him credit. He plays through injuries and tries not to complain. Tries not to complain for it. And I feel like he's still worthy of a starting job. More over than a Cam Newton or somebody else, some other veteran player that hasn't performed.
Sam Darnold. That's what they're talking about.
I still think he's worthy. I think he's still worthy of starting, but also maybe backing up. I don't know how his ego is, but maybe backing up, taking a year off. Getting some rest.
I mean, that's
healing.
Dude, in the position
I literally
will help him. Maybe it'll help him. I don't know.
Off, then.
Dude, I heard somebody. I was watching something, and I literally heard that same take, where it's like maybe a year off behind a veteran who's on the edge of like retiring. Like, obviously, it's not going to happen, but Tampa would be great. They mentioned Indianapolis behind Matt Ryan, like taking a year off.
I'll take him over Colt McCoy. Colt McCoy, I'll take him over Colt McCoy. Send to Arizona.
Yeah, but he's not going to get in front of Arizona. He's not getting in front of Kyler Murray. But I think the idea of an older guy is not a bad idea. Like being behind a Matt Ryan who might have a couple years left, like a year or two left, learn from him, understand how to take care of your body. Matt Ryan is, dude, that guy plays every fucking game. Like, I don't remember the last time that dude's been hurt. Like, I think being behind somebody like that who's experienced a former MVP. Was he MVP? I believe so. I don't know. Either way, a longtime veteran who's been to the Super Bowls, won multiple playoff games, has insane stats, probably the best quarterback Atlanta's ever seen. Like, I think being behind somebody like that wouldn't be a bad idea. Instead of just rushing out and trying to be a starter somewhere like Carolina where the team's not good enough. But I do think he is definitely. I mean, I'd rather have Sam Darnold or fucking what's the dude who just went to Seattle from why am I drawing a blank? Drew Lock. Like, I'd rather have him over Drew Lock.
Yeah,
I'd rather have him over Trubisky.
Oh man, that's not something.
I'd rather have him over Trubisky. I'd rather have him over Tua. I'd rather have him over.
Oh, okay, that's.
I'm trying to throw that in there.
But here's so by the way, Matt Ryan, a 2016 MVP, 2016 Offensive Player of the Year.
I thought so.
Yeah, JoJo. I don't know how you feel. I mean, do you feel like Baker can still start? Like, is he still worth? Like, does he still have value in the league? Do you see him starting and on a team? If not the Browns, on a team, JoJo.
I mean, I could see him starting. He's not my favorite quarterback. We've seen him pull through some crazy wins. We've seen him throw games away, literally, just throw them away. He still has potential, but we got to remember the organization he's playing for, and we gave him way too high expectations change that organization around. Like, it's the Browns. You know what I mean? He might be able to perform a little better, have a better career with another team and organization. But to Julian's take, if he had the proper guidance and he learned to humble himself and just take the time to learn, listen, progress, he's definitely, he can have a bright future.
I will say this about the Browns thing. That Browns team he was on, those aren't like the same old Browns. Like,
I know.
those are a really good team.
Those teams
And
are stacked.
you could probably say that they would have made the playoffs even without him. I will say, because that defense was really good. Those teams were really good. That team still is really good.
All right, that won't be the biggest excuse because obviously they gave him receivers, they gave him defense, they had a running game.
Yeah, that's insane running game.
That team had a lot of potential, but I'm just giving him, the benefit of the doubt to say that he's
same old Browns.
It's the Browns.
Honestly, the Browns. Real quick, just like, no offense to Browns fans, but man, even the name, the Browns, just sounds like a bottom feeder team. Like, it just like, it's not like a glorious.
Browns is the name of a guy. Wow. It's the name of a guy.
Yeah, Paul Brown. Yeah,
Mr. Brown. Paul Brown.
But I know that. But it just sounds like the colors. It just looks like that typical like.
What?
Just like that team that like just sucks.
I don't get the dog pound. I don't get Browns and a dog. Their colors are orange and brown, and it's a dog. I don't get that.
I'm not fluent in Brown history.
Unless you see Clifford the orange dog. I don't know.
Clifford the orange dog.
Let's transition, because we're in the middle of the NBA. NBA is going on. NBA playoffs. We talk about we're going to talk about all the games. But let's talk about last night because Devin Booker went out with an injury last night. Pelicans at Suns. Pelicans pulled out. The series is split. Is a little bit of an upset. Devin Booker goes down. Jojo, I don't know if you've seen the game. How do you feel about this? How do you feel about this Pelicans Suns series going?
Pelicans have a lot of potential. Shout out Brandon Ingram holding on the team. That guy's unreal. And they have a lot of scores on that team. Here's what I hate, though. I hate when we all love an underdog story, right? But I hate when the 1 seeds let the 8 seeds hang around, right? And no, treat them like an 8 seed, like they deserve. And your home court, and you're out here losing. Doesn't matter if Devin Booker went down, which I know he's probably one of the most important people on that team. No, still not an excuse to keep. The Suns went on like 2 separate runs. I believe they went on like a 10-0 run, and then they went on like a 12-0 run. New Orleans also had a run of its own, but you got to put the game away. Like, there's no excuse to have them that close in that game, in that situation, and then to lose by almost double digits towards the end. Or they did lose by double digits. I forgot what the score was, but.
Yeah. Well, it ended up being 125 to 114. Obviously, the Suns at home.
There you go.
At home to the Pelicans. And the Pelicans, obviously we know they were fighting for a spot, for a playoff spot. I just dropped in the chat a link. And you can kind of see right around, the fourth quarter, right around the 8-minute mark, with 8:22 left to go. That's when it kind of turned around for the Suns. And, they kept them in the game, even with Booker out, who left, I think it was like 77, 74 when Booker went out. The Suns were down. Right around the fourth quarter, I think New Orleans went away with it, and the Suns were never recovered. Now, going into the series, obviously, Pelicans were just like they're the ugly duckling. They're the thing in the back. Like, nobody expected Pelicans to win. I thought there was going to be a sweep, honestly, going to the series. Like, this should be a sweep.
I guaranteed a sweep on that. Like, honestly, like this New Orleans team was in shambles. I don't even know how they made the play-in and everything. Again, kudos to them, right? No disrespect, right? They the underdog. We love the story. But now you're in a situation where Devin Booker could be out for Game 3, which I think he was ruled out for Game 3.
Yeah,
and now you have to play. You have to play in New Orleans, and now you have to play in New Orleans without Devin Booker. So that puts you in a situation. If you go down 2-1, what's going to happen? You got to play 2 games on the road.
Right? And Devin Booker with he went out with a hamstring injury, which is usually that's weeks. That's like a month. Like, hamstring is like no joke. Like, bro, you can barely walk. If you got a hamstring, I don't know how severe it is. Like,
I've had a very bad hamstring tear before, and you can't even sit.
Bro, you ain't playing. You're not playing basketball. You can barely stand up. Like,
and it's a nagging. It's very naggy. It doesn't just heal in a month either. Like it takes months. It's just you can play through it. You can play through it in like a couple weeks, but it's a very naggy because it's such an important muscle. It's just you use it. You don't realize how much you use it until you hurt it. You're like, fuck, man. Like, I mean, shit. When you're sore at the gym from your fucking hamstrings, you're like, fuck. You can't take a shit. You can't do anything.
It's not soreness.
That's a fact.
Yeah, I know, but like I'm saying, imagine soreness. Like you just feel that, but imagine that, but like actually hurting, like actually being injured.
Yeah.
So and they say indefinite, which means indefinite means there's no timeline. But it seems
they always give that answer in the beginning because they don't want to change the game plans of the opposing team. You know what I mean? They don't want to rule them out just yet.
Day by day.
When it's a hamstring or like an Achilles, like what Kobe Bryant had, like it's pretty this is devastating. It's devastating. Yeah. So
Pelicans in 5.
Pelicans in 5.
Wow.
I
still think the Suns. No, I think
I'm just fucking around.
Overall, as a team, right? Obviously, they need Devin Booker in the later rounds. They could get out of the first round with Devin Booker, for sure.
They can get.
But it gets tricky. It gets scary. You don't want to be put in that situation. You don't want to go 7 games in the first round to face a harder team in the second round, and you're going to be gassed out. First round supposed to be.
I will say this too, though. Like it wasn't like you said. I mean, he wasn't out the whole game. He still dropped 30 that game.
Yeah,
and they still lost. Like
exactly. That's and that was the point I was trying to make.
It wasn't like he was
in the game. It
wasn't like he was gone.
No, the Pelicans.
It wasn't like he got injured the first quarter and then he was gone. He was gone the whole rest of it. He's like he still dropped 30. And they still lost.
Yeah, I still feel like the Suns, they're deep enough that like their roster, their depth chart, they can still pull out. They can still pull out of this series. Going forward, I wonder about the scoring. Like I wonder about how much offensive production they're going to go for without Devin Booker. I mean, like
I mean, dude, they're the number 1 seed for a reason. They had the best record in the league. Like you don't get to that status because one of your guys is gone. Like. Yeah. You get to that status because your team is super deep. I mean, like to be a number 1 seed, like you have to be a really deep team. Like if somebody can't show up, you need another person to be there to clean it up. And that's how you become that number 1 seed. Like very rarely do you see a team get carried by one guy and be a number 1 seed. Like that just doesn't happen.
Yeah. I mean Iverson, LeBron James.
I mean, but were they? Yeah, I mean, that was the only instance I can think of was
Dwight Howard, Orlando.
Bro, real quick, just a sidetrack
that season.
Yeah, I'm thinking about players
Sixers,
drag the teams.
Orlando with Dwight. Were they the 1 seed that season?
Yeah, they went to the final.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That Orlando team was pretty deep. That Orlando team was pretty deep.
That doesn't mean they were the 1 seed. I just want to know if they were the 1 seed.
Let me look it up.
I believe they were. They're like 1 or 2. I went to that game. I went to the Eastern Conference Finals when they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers.
So were you there when LeBron hit the game winner though? I think that was game 2.
I was there when Rashad. It was game. I went to game 6 when Rashad Lewis hit the 3 to win it. But regardless, also little sidetrack. That Sixers team, that 2000 or 2002 Sixers team that got carried by Allen Iverson. Did you hear about the shit that came out about like the refs like purposely like treating Iverson differently and like calling fouls on him and shit like that? Like, dude, that is wild.
The ref, one, you're not supposed to retaliate. Right?
It happened like a couple weeks ago. Too.
It doesn't matter if players. You know, if you don't like any players, they talk shit to you, you know what I mean? Whatever the case is, that changes everything. And there's probably so much dirt and stuff we don't know about in the league.
Dude, that puts so much, like, to me, that, like, solidifies Allen Iverson's, like, legacy even more. The fact that he carried that team with virtually nobody on it to the NBA Finals, you lose in 5, but everything was against you.
Everything.
And they even he never went to the media.
He never complained about it. He never complained about it. Never went to the media. Never said anything. Yeah. Didn't care.
Yeah.
You know, that's the part he was dealt with.
He still took one game on that Lakers team that was a literal God squad. Like that team was unreal. Like think about the players like Derek Fisher, Kobe Bryant, Shaq, fucking
Marc Gasol, fucking Steve Nash.
No, I don't think Paul Gasol was there in that time.
Steve Nash.
No, Fox? Why am I drawing a Fox something?
That's the 2000s, early 2000s. Wait, that's early 2000s.
Yeah, you had what's the dude's? Why am I drawing a blank? Fox something. Fox.
Rick Fox.
Rick Fox. Yeah, you had him on that team. Like that. That team was stacked. That team was unreal.
The God Squad.
Go back and look at that team. That team was unbeatable.
2004. Rick Fox
last played 2004. So. Yeah, oh no, but that season was like 2000. That season was like 2000, 2002 or something like that. Right. I remember that was the year I fell in love with Allen Iverson. That was the year I was like, holy shit, this guy's unreal. But
so
anyways,
you were like 7, but okay.
Yeah.
Just for information, 2009,
exactly.
Orlando Magic was the number 3 seed. They were number 3 facing the Lakers, and they lost 4-1 in that series. I was just doing research while y'all were talking. So
yeah, I remember they lost 5.
Yeah. All right. Let's transition. That's the Pelican Suns. Let's transition to just kind of the rest of our predictions that we have for the rest of the year. We're recording, like I said, 420. Brooklyn plays at Boston.
Man, that first game.
I don't know how much of the series. Jojo, tell us about the series. How much is Boston?
Listen,
net series.
I already said it last episode, and looks like we're going to be on the right track. This is going to be a great series. Hard fought series. Brooklyn in 7. They almost got away with it in game 1 in Boston. Kyrie putting on a clinic, went on an 8-0 run. Or 10-0 run by himself. I forgot it was like either the third or the fourth quarter. KD still had a decent game. They played great defense on him. And it literally came down to the last play and the last second where your boy KD was jet lagged and got caught up standing flat-footed with Jason Tatum running a backdoor cut and got the game-winning layup.
Yep. And they split that defense. That defense got split, which was so crazy because, the Nets should be dominating offensively. Like we talked about, the Nets offensively off the charts. Like they have the 2 greatest players, probably the two greatest combos. And I think I saw on Twitter today,
2 greatest players, in terms of their skill set. In terms of their skill set, yeah.
And I think LeBron spoke to it. You can go on Twitter because LeBron's sitting in Cancun. He's on the banana boat by himself. Yeah. LeBron spoke to it. Dwayne Wade spoke to it. Because Tracy McGrady went on. Yeah, he went on some podcast and said, KD and Kyrie are the. Yeah, KD. So Tracy McGrady said KD and Kyrie are better than LeBron and Wade, like that combo, and they both agreed. So they're getting respect from the elders. I guess Dwayne Wade's an elder, not LeBron. But offensively going to this game, the Nets should run away with this. But we know Boston, they improve. They have a better defense. I know they have a better defense offensively. And, when it comes to those critical moments, that is where they separate, right? That's where Boston separates from the Nets. It's defensively, the Nets are terrible. And offensively, they're going to capitalize on your terrible defense. They're just going to do a little, he does a little roll. He laid it up with 0 seconds. Amazing. It was an amazing gameplay going to finish that game. So, Jojo, how do you feel going into the series now? Because now they have to go back. Brooklyn would be going into Boston. They're going to be playing again tonight. How do you feel about the series going forward now that they split? The home games.
Well, I mean, it's 2-2-1 1-1, right, for playoffs still, right? You get 2 home games, then you got to go to the opponent's court for 2 games, and then it's 1-1-1. So they're going right back into Boston, and of course, it's going to be battle of the home courts, right? So if the Nets do lose this game, I wouldn't expect them to walk with their head down because now Boston has to go to Brooklyn, right? And Kyrie has to deal with all the antics in Boston. All the shit talking. We saw he got fined $50,000.
Yeah,
for rallying back at players in that press conference. That was the most New York thing ever. That shit was hilarious. This guy was fighting with fans on the court, making gestures and mocking them. Which, and it's right. He should, right? Because why would you stand there and take that? It didn't affect his game on the court Now, if he had a bad performance and you saw him fighting back with fans, you say, "Oh, he's distracted. He's clearly distracted. He should forget what the fans are saying. He needs to focus on basketball." Nah, he balled out. Honestly, KD folded. KD let the game,
get away from him. He didn't shoot very well.
He let the game
First
away.
game, yeah. So Julian, like, how do you feel? I mean, how do you feel about Kyrie? Do you feel like he's distracted by the fans? Do you feel like the fans are getting underneath him? Will this affect his gameplay? How do you feel about Kyrie going into Boston?
I mean, dude, it's Boston, bro. Like, that's what they do. Like, I mean, he played for them. He should know that. Like, you just gotta move past it. And I feel like, man, people love going after him because they know he's reacts. I mean, every year it's like what they threw the soda at him. They threw like all this, like they know he reacts. So people like they're going to try to fuck with you because they know that he's going to try to do something back. And it's just like, I know it sucks, but you gotta be the bigger dude. Like you can't let it.
He said, "Fuck that! It's the playoffs. I'm gonna talk my shit."
But like it, I mean, you just got fuck you money like that. So I mean,
yeah.
I feel like the fans have definitely got underneath the skin. Like this is like,
I mean, clearly,
if you see the press conference, like you see, like he's clearly like he's like, "Oh no, I don't pay attention," or he's like, I looked them in the eye and they weren't about that. Like people talking to me, I look them in the eye and they're not about that. Like, bro, they're definitely getting underneath your skin, and like this is kind of like what the whole season has been ramped up to, right? Because he hasn't been playing. And sometimes he shows out. He'll go travel outside of New York, and he'll show out, and like he puts up 40 points or some crazy number, which we know he can do. Like that's the scariest thing about the Nets is like if Kyrie's not putting up 40, KD is going to put up 40. Like that's the thing. Like, okay, next man up. You know what I mean?
But we all knew coming into this the history of like Kyrie in Boston. Like he essentially gave them false hope. He barely played for them, and then he ends up requesting a trade. So it's like we know that history and like how it left a bad taste in Boston fans' mouth. Like so like Boston fans want nothing more but then to get revenge for that. Because imagine that Boston team with Kyrie on it. Boston is like historically just like over the past like couple few years they're such a deep, just like really they don't have like they just have such a deep team. They just they work well together. Like they switch out players constantly, and they're still just good. Like the coaching is just so well done over there. Like every year, they're just a top 4 playoff team every single year.
I forgot what round it was, but that young core team, where Kyrie was on and Gordon Hayward, they didn't play that series, and they went to Game 7 with Cleveland. I think it was either to advance to the finals or the Eastern Conference Finals. It was one of the two. And they were literally one game away, and Jason Tatum was going off. I think that was his rookie season, just holding down the team. It was a couple years back. But again, this series comes down to winning at home and seeing if you can steal a game on the road. That's going to be big. If Brooklyn can steal a game tonight and go back home for your next 2 games, that could be the series right there.
The bare minimum is like steal a game. If you're away, steal a game. And you have the momentum because, they say, the NBA players, they say like in the playoffs, like every game is different. Like it's not like, oh, this series is like it's written out. Like when you go into a playoff series, especially like this, you know what the teams do, what they do for success. They know how successful they are or whatever plans, what they do, pick and roll, whatever screens, whatever they take charges. They're the first game and the second game is completely different. So I feel like if I'm the Nets, this is going to be tough. But you do want to steal a game. You want to steal a game. If you split, you're solid because then you go back home. You play 2 games at home. You'll be good. As far as the Celtics, like this Celtic team is really good. I'm a Miami fan. I'm gonna talk to you as a Miami fan. As far as top teams, Boston is a scary. No, you don't. Why you put that on?
What?
As far as the Celtics,
it's a little
for me, as a Miami fan, the Celtics team. This is one of the best Celtics teams I've seen since like the original Big Three. We're talking about Ray Allen, freaking with that Perk team. It was KG,
Paul Pierce,
and
KG,
fucking
Rondo,
Paul Pierce. That team, that was a scary ass team for me as a Miami fan. That was a scary ass team. And since then, post that original three, this is the scariest team I've ever seen because they play both sides.
You got Marcus Smart, Defensive Player of the Year. Kudos to them. Like, they revolved around
get
defense.
out of here with Marcus Smart.
Listen, he won. He won.
No, bro. Please get that flopper out of here. Get that fucking. Oh my god. Let's not talk about Marcus Smart. Let's talk about this matchup with the Nets versus the Celtics. I think if you're Nets, you got to steal. They can score. Oh my god, this is. Wow, you're putting up the Kyrie. Production.
Gabe did say that. Quote him on that.
Since the original Big Three. Anyways, but yeah, this Celtic team is it's a really good Celtics team. I expect them to get out of the series. I kind of expect them to win. It'll be tough, like it'll be close. But if you're the Nets, you got to win the series. You got to split. You got to split. If you don't split, man, you're climbing up a hill. And I don't know if the Nets defense, like I said, offensively, we know the Nets are there. Defensively,
so you don't think if they lose this game, you don't think they could defend home court and win two?
I think they can win one.
Okay, one. Okay, I could see that.
One at home. I think the Nets can win one at home. If you don't win this game 2,
you're splitting back in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I think so.
Right, I can see that.
I think the Celtics are that good.
I could see that. I could see that.
But I don't,
the Celtics are more likely to steal a game in Brooklyn than Brooklyn is to steal a game in Boston. We'll win it all because they are a very scary team.
Julian just keeps trashing right now. Julian keeps trashing. Anyways, Julian,
let's switch over from Brooklyn and Boston. Let's talk about your Miami Heat, your number 1 seed Miami Heat. The energy in Miami is mediocre. We're not celebrating yet, right? They're up 2-0. It's almost there. We'll see what happens in the next round. Actually, real quick, a lot was going on in Miami sports yesterday. You had the Marlins playing. You had the Heat playing in the playoffs. You had the 2 Miami soccer teams playing against
Miami
each other.
Clásico.
And honestly, that's insane. So I don't think any particular place or stadium was too packed in a sense. I know they actually broke the record at the soccer game yesterday.
They broke the record. They broke the record for Miami FC.
For Miami FC,
for a Miami FC game, but that was because Inter Miami was playing.
Exactly.
Because Inter Miami gets like 18,000, 15,000 a game.
It's a pretty stacked day overall. So I could imagine how it was at Marlins Park or like at FTX.
Yeah. I went to that game. That was pretty. It was awesome to go back to my college. And I really wanted to check it out. It was a U.S. Open tournament, U.S. Open Cup game. So it was really fun to see Inter Miami advance.
All right, let's get into it right after this. So, Gabe, back to your Miami Heat, your number 1 seed against the Hawks.
Man, we're talking about Miami Heat. I mean, going to the series, obviously, game 2 already got played. It's just kind of like I feel like same how before I got into the series, like the Atlanta Hawks, while they they're a nice little team. Trae Young is a nice player. I do like Trae Young as a player. But as a team, do I think the Atlanta Hawks can beat the Miami Heat? No way. Miami Heat is a number 1 seed for a reason. They played, even with all the injuries throughout the entire year, all the injuries that... Oh, no. Okay, now you go on, JoJo. Yeah, you're mediocre. So even with the entire season, how we had to play with injuries, with Jimmy being out or Kyle Lowry being out for family or whatever. There's all kinds of things. Jimmy Butler got disrespected this year because he didn't get nominated for Depoy of the Year, for Defensive Player of the Year, because he didn't play enough games because he was out so long, which is disrespectful. Fuck Marcus Smart. He's a flopper. Fuck that guy. So with all that being said, the entire year, Miami Heat have played excellent. They played above their expectations. And the fact that they got the number 1 seed is because they earned it. So going into the series, we're talking about Miami Heat, Atlanta Hawks. This is kind of what I expected. I like Trae Young. He's a young player, but I don't think the Atlanta Hawks are that deep as a team. Right now, they're facing injuries. They have, Kid Capella's out. The other guy with the COVID, he took 1 COVID shot, but he didn't take the other. And now he's out because he's not vaccinated.
Damn.
I don't know what's going on with that team, but this is what I expected. I expected to, the Atlanta Hawks to just roll over and just lay down and just.
Yeah, I mean that first game the Heat put them on cuffs.
Oh, they
bro.
shut them off.
Trae Young had almost double-digit turnovers. I think he only had like 8 points. Like they locked him up. Second game, it was a little turnaround for Trae Young. Honestly, the Hawks were in it for a while, and until the fourth quarter, yeah, man, it was closer than you think. They even had the lead for a little bit. They were going back and forth. I know you were panicking. You started to sweat a little bit.
Atlanta had a lot of misses. They had a lot of misses. Atlanta were shooting, but they were missing a lot. And I felt like the Miami defense, Miami showed.
They had a stretch. They knocked like 3 or 4 threes down in a row. And
I think they came with. Going into the fourth, they were down like 12 points. And they came within like 8. And, the Miami Heat, they're the first seed for a reason, and I feel like a lot of national media, a lot of people they don't watch the Miami Heat games, man. We're a quiet number one. We're a quiet number one. People
for a big market too, especially for like a big market.
I don't know for a big market.
You know how many undrafted players are on the Heat? They have almost 8 to 10 players that went undrafted that are currently on the Miami Heat right now.
And I feel like every matchup that we talk about, like whatever the big teams, who are the national teams? The 76ers, the Nets. You want to talk about the Lakers. You want to talk about Milwaukee. Every team that whatever national media puts against, they always say like, do you have the best 1 or 2 players on your team? And every team would go against 76ers. Would you have Embiid or Jimmy Butler? Everybody says Embiid. Would you have KD or Jimmy Butler? Everybody says KD. Would you have every national talking point? They always say some other team, but Miami still persists. We play both sides of the ball. We play offense and defense. We have guys that you know nothing about. They fucking score and they put up points.
Yeah, and I was watching the game last night, y'all. Like they were playing unreal.
King Pat Riley.
They were playing. Bro.
The other day, the first game, game 1, Duncan Robinson had a game. I'm still waiting for the Max Strus game. Okay, Caleb Martin playing lockdown defense on.
That defense, he's real. Caleb Martin's real, man. He's real.
So, I'm sorry. I said I mean, Caleb Martin on Trae Young last night. So, yeah, man, I feel like Miami, he's getting disrespected. I mean, as far as the expectations from the beginning of the series, Miami should roll over Atlanta. I'm sorry. That's just my predictions. I mean, there's nothing else to talk about. They're going to go into game 3 into Atlanta. Tons of Miami Heat fans in Atlanta. I expect more of the same. You know what? I said Heat in 5. You know what? Here's my prediction. Heat in 4.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Not even going to give him a game.
Heat in 4. I'm not even giving him a game at home. I feel like it's going to be done in Atlanta. We're going into game 3. I think Trae doesn't he doesn't have enough help. I do like Trae. Trae doesn't have enough help. Right now, at this point in time, their team is injured, and also he doesn't have enough help. Heat in 4. There we go. Put it on the scroll. That's me. That's my prediction.
Bring out
can we transition? Let's talk about another game that's going on. Philly at Toronto. Philly.
I'll be honest. I don't even care about this series. Let's go back to the West Coast. I don't even care.
You don't care about Philly Toronto?
I don't get rid of. I really don't. All I know is Joel Embiid was getting into it with Nick Nurse on the sidelines, which I found surprising. They were actually going back and forth talking, and then Embiid was like, "I respectfully told them stop arguing calls," and that's coming from Embiid, who argues a lot of calls and always ends up on the free throw line. Some way,
James Harden.
But I mean, if you want to talk about it, we could talk about it. I don't even care who wins that series. It really doesn't matter to me.
I mean, Toronto's a former, they won the championship. They're a former NBA team. I know they split up. They're not the same roster, but I mean, Toronto still, they're a top team. 76ers. Everybody wants to talk about James Harden, and nobody wants to talk about Embiid and James Harden.
I'm tired of talking about those two, respectfully. Respectfully.
Wow. What an end to a segment. I thought we were going to get into it, but I guess not.
Respectfully.
I will say this. I don't think I would. If I was a team, I wouldn't trade for James Harden. Like I don't feel I wouldn't care to have him. I'd rather put my efforts for somebody else.
You know what I do want to talk about? It's a lot more exciting than those two teams. The Golden State Warriors making a comeback, and they are looking like a champion. They're scary. You want to talk about a scary team? Forget the Boston Celtics. That Warriors team and Steph Curry.
I don't know, man.
This man played 24 minutes off the bench and dropped like 32, and that guy Jordan Poole, man. He came out of the G League. He should be going for most improved player. He wasn't even in consideration right now. That team is ridiculous.
I don't know, man. Gabe's selling me on the Celtics being the scariest team he's ever seen. He's saying they're scarier than the 2008 Celtics.
We're talking about East Coast, man. We're talking about East Coast. I'm not talking about the West Coast. West Coast. So listen, Golden State, they're an amazing team. As far as like Golden State 2.0, they definitely had like their resurgence of like, yo, y'all were really good this year again. You know, after there was some with Clay out, whatever.
Last year was supposed to be a rebuilding. What happened to They skipped the rebuilding and they're right back in it. Which I don't know how they did it, but it's insane.
Which is pretty crazy. I guess the Nuggets. Yeah, I guess the Nuggets, which obviously
Bro,
Jokic.
They have the Nuggets MVP. In shambles right now. Do you see your guy Jokic? He got kicked out of the game. 2 texts, arguing calls. They're in shambles. They can't put a stop. Listen, they can't put a stop to that Golden State offense. It was actually kind of embarrassing.
Hold up. Wasn't I the only one that you guys were giving the Nuggets so much credit last week? And I was like, Golden State in 6. And you guys are saying Game 7. And I think Gabe even said Nuggets.
I did call it. I think I
called Nuggets.
7.
Gabe, I'm pretty sure called Nuggets. And I was the only one that was giving the biggest hype towards the Golden State. I was like, they're going to come back hungry.
You're talking about the league MVP. You're talking about Jokic. League MVP probably wouldn't again because just based on statistically, Jokic is an excellent player. I don't like Jokic personally because he gave a concussion to my man Markieff Morris. Yeah. He was out for like months, missed half the season because of the concussion. So I don't like Jokic, but he is an excellent player. You saw him get ejected, and you see Draymond waving goodbye to Jokic last night, getting his second tech. So I thought the series was going to be a lot closer. This is an exciting series, it's an exciting matchup.
Let's see if they can bounce back.
And Golden State, man, Golden State is another thing. Here's the thing: when it gets to the playoffs, like the hottest team is going to keep going forward towards it'll keep marching forward. It's not whatever your regular season that kind of matters. You look at as far as like injuries and how the team is playing, and Golden State is just on fire. Like this is Golden State 2.0, and seeing Jokic getting kicked out, like Jokic as good as a player as he is. Bro, that guy's a hothead. That guy's a bully. He's a hothead. He's a menace. Like you can get under his skin. And the fact that he got kicked out, I think this series is transitioning over to Golden State. And I did predict. I may have predicted Nuggets in 7, but right now, Golden State has the momentum. They have the momentum going forward.
They definitely have the momentum, and it's up to the Nuggets. Honestly, if they go down 3-0, series over. There's obviously no question about it. They have to win at home. That first game is it. That's the series. That's a series right there.
And the closest the game got, we were talking about analyze the last game that we had. The closest the game got was like in the second quarter, with like 2:57 left. That was the closest the game got. I mean, Golden State just ran away. They never. Oh, I made bad predictions. They never got away with the score. Golden State they always had the lead and they just kept running with the lead. So Golden State can do that to you, man. Golden State's gonna put up points. So Golden State's gonna put up points. So you gotta be focused to beat the Golden State Warriors. So it's gonna be exciting. I mean, they play tonight. I believe they play at Denver. So we'll see how if there's home game advantage going.
They don't play tonight. They play tomorrow.
Oh, sorry, tomorrow. Sorry, I'm sorry, tomorrow. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we talk about Dallas, Utah?
It's an interesting series. Stephen A. went off on this Utah team. And I called it, guys. I said, look, this Utah team is the same team we've seen the last 3 years. I don't think they're going to make a deep run. Something always happens. Donovan Mitchell has to do too much for this team. And they lost without playing against Luka. That says a lot. We said Luka's going to make or break the series for Dallas, and he's not even playing, and they still stole the game without him. So now imagine what happens when he comes back. Yeah. And they have to play. Where was the series? Was it in Utah the first 2 games or Dallas? I think Utah was the higher seed, right?
Well, yeah. Well, the next, Utah was higher. I think next is going to be at Utah. I think Dallas had that. Next game is going to be at Utah. So, yeah, Utah has a higher seed.
What do you think about that series?
But yeah, I mean, We did say it. We did say that Luka. If Luka has a great game, Dallas is going to do good. If Luka is not there, Luka's not going to.
Yeah, and they won without him. They stole a game without him. That's the crazy thing.
So I feel like going forward, like the entire regular season, we all know the Utah Jazz is one of the top teams, and
a regular season team.
Yeah, I mean, I expect them to win the series, regardless.
They should.
I expect them to win the series. But going forward, I don't know. Will they repeat? Now Luka's coming back. Will Utah fend off the Dallas Mavericks? I kind of expect the Utah Jazz still to win the series. But we'll see. We'll see tomorrow because they play tomorrow. Last game, Memphis, Minnesota. Do you want to talk about Memphis, Minnesota? We're talking about Ja Morant
we can talk about that.
versus
the upset.
Pat Bev. The upset.
Well,
they did split.
T-Wolves, they split the first two games in Memphis there. T-Wolves stole the game, the first game. Ja Morant, I love the confidence, young player. I think he's talking to talk too early right now. If you saw him after that, the second game when they won, as they were supposed to win, it was actually, they won by a good margin there, so I'd expect that. But, hey, man, series not over, buddy. I know you're young, you're excited. He said he wants all the smoke, but it's going to be a lot tougher than you think, right? T-Wolves are there to play. They're not going to just roll over and let y'all win. They already stole the game at home. In your home court. Now they're going back to Minnesota where you got to fight off 2 games there. Obviously, Memphis still the favorites. I expect a split in these next 2 games. I don't think Memphis is gonna win 2 games in a row. Wow. I don't see it. Don't see it.
Wow. Okay.
I will say to JoJo's point, I mean, this is like their first playoff series as this team. So,
well, they were in the playoffs last year.
They were in the play-in, weren't they?
During the bubble, they were the underdog during the bubble. But they were a team on the rise,
Yeah, no, for sure.
I thought they were a play-in team last year.
I expect them to win the series.
Yeah, I think going forward, I do like the Memphis Grizzlies. I have liked them since the bubble, whatever. I do like Ja Morant. But you want to talk about underdog stories? The Timberwolves are the underdog stories. The way they celebrated, you would have thought they won the finals. Last week,
looking like
against the Clippers.
They did win the I thought they won the play-in cup. They won the play-in trophy.
The most dangerous team to play is a team that got nothing to lose, and the Timberwolves, they already won the
That is the definition of the T-Wolves right now. They don't have anything to lose.
They have nothing to prove, nothing to lose. They have.
I don't even know who's on that team.
You got Pat Bev,
Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
So they got a little team. They got a little team.
You're just saying names to me out of that.
They have names. They have, I'm not saying they're gonna go deep in the playoffs.
Gabe, you have a name.
What I'm saying is I do have a name.
Are you part of the Timberwolves?
I still like Memphis Grizzlies, bro. I still like the Grizzlies, bro. I'm a fan. Ja Morant is the future, bro. Ja Morant is the truth. Have you seen him? He's like a young Dwayne Wade. So as far as this series,
young Dwayne Wade,
I still expect the Grizzlies to pull it out. I know they split.
They should.
JoJo says they're not going to win twice in a row, but I think the Grizzlies can pull it out.
JoJo said Minnesota in 7.
Did not.
I swear I heard that. I swear I heard JoJo say Minnesota in 7.
Memphis is winning the series, but they're going to split these next 2 games with Minnesota.
Minnesota,
man, they're just not going to walk.
Memphis in what?
Memphis in 6.
I said Memphis in 6, but 6. You know what?
Memphis in
6. That sounds good.
But you know what? Memphis in 6.
I was thinking about 7. I was like, no, Memphis in 6. Memphis should win. Memphis needs to win because the Timberwolves are
Minnesota in 5.
Yeah.
According to Gabe, they got names.
That is very true. They do have names.
They got names. I don't know.
I already dropped my bona fides.
Whoa, Julian, you need to do your research and go search up who's on his Minnesota team.
I'll do my research on the Minnesota team.
Go do some research on that.
Anyways.
Team. And with that said, I think that's a good point to leave off.
That's a good point to end off on. Next time we come back, Julian's gonna do his research. He's gonna research the.
I'm gonna come back with. I'm gonna come back with a Kevin Garnett Timberwolves jersey on.
Wow.
Only play
his rookie card, bro. That's a good
rookie
card. That'll be it. What is it? 48? We're at 48 already? My God, 48. We appreciate y'all downloading. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Apple, any podcast, anywhere you can get podcasts. That's where we are. Real Fans Podcast. JoJo, where else can we find us? Where can the people find us?
All right, we're doing some fast food chains. You can find us Wendy's, McDonald's, Popeye,
value menu,
Chick-fil-A, but not on Sundays. All right, I already know.
That's football days.
Like I said, we appreciate y'all checking us out. Thank you for the downloads. Thank you for visiting us. We'll be back next week. More NBA news, NFL, NHL, whatever's going on in sports. MLB, we'll be here. Real Fan Podcast. We appreciate
more MLB talk next episode.
Definitely.
And draft. Peace.